Turkey has been ripped with a series of earthquakes. A major aftershock has struck South Turkey. The tremors measured at 7.8 magnitude on the Richter scale, dealing a shocking blow after hundreds were killed in a powerful earthquake of the same magnitude in southern Turkey and northern Syria early Monday. So what is an aftershock? Seismic waves are what create earthquakes, which are sudden episodes of the ground trembling which result from the energy released by the breaking and slippage of one set of rocks against another. The phrase aftershock refers to the shaking that occurs after an earthquake. Although aftershocks are indeed earthquakes, it is more accurate to refer to them as the smaller earthquakes or shocks that follow the primary one, that is, the largest earthquake in a sequence of earthquakes. The rocks nearby are subjected to additional pushing, pulling, and twisting strains during an earthquake because some of the energy produced during the abrupt rock splitting is transmitted to them. When the rocks can no longer withstand the strains, they shatter as well, releasing more stored energy and causing additional faults in the rock. In this fashion, aftershocks follow earthquakes and smaller aftershocks follow smaller aftershocks. In the hours and days that follow an earthquake, aftershocks are more common and typically have a greater magnitude. Their size and frequency do, however, diminish over time. Although most aftershocks have relatively low shaking compared to the main earthquake, they can nonetheless be strong enough to hinder rescue attempts by further eroding buildings and other structures. This is what the study explains. Additionally, aftershocks can be upsetting for locals who are already dealing with the devastation and fatalities caused by the first quake itself. So what's the difference between foreshocks and aftershocks? Foreshocks, like the word indicates, are smaller earthquakes that occur in the same place before the larger ones. And smaller earthquake in the same region must first occur in order to classify an earthquake as a foreshock. Smaller earthquakes known as aftershocks are those that happen in the same general location days to years after a bigger event or main shock. They happen between 1 to 2 fault lengths distance and just before the background seismicity level picks back up. This is what a report by the USGS explains. So let's try and understand more about the main earthquake itself. The quake was felt as far away as Cairo, was centered in North Gaziantep, which is a Turkish provincial capital. It struck a region that has been shaped on both sides of the border by more than a decade of civil war in Syria. On the Syrian side, the swath affected is divided between government-held territory and the country's last opposition-held enclave, which is surrounded by Russian-backed government forces. Turkey, meanwhile, is home to millions of refugees from that conflict. The opposition-held regions in Syria are packed with more than 4 million people displaced from other parts of the country by the fighting. Many of them live in buildings that are already wrecked from past bombardments. Hundreds of families remain trapped in rubble. The opposition emergency organization called the White Helmets has said in a statement already. So the death toll could really mount. Strained health facilities and hospitals were quickly filled with wounded. Rescue workers have been quoted. Others had to be emptied, including a maternity hospital, according to the SAMS medical organization. So clearly, trouble mounting, both in Turkey and in Syria. 9 nations have felt this earthquake. So is Turkey an earthquake-prone area? Turkey is located in one of the seismically active regions of the world. This is what a report by the BBC states. In 1999, a devastating earthquake that shook the country's northwest claimed lives of almost 17,000 people. The 1999 Izmit earthquake, that's what it is called. The disastrous Izmit earthquake of 1999, also known as the Kocaeli earthquake or the Golkuch earthquake, occurred on the 17th of August 1999 close to the city of Izmit in northwest Turkey. Numerous mid-sized villages and cities were completely devastated and thousands of people were killed. That's what reports suggest. Just after 3 in the morning, local time, an earthquake struck the northernmost segment of the North Anatolian fault system. Its epicenter was located about 7 miles or 11 kilometers southeast of Izmit. The first shock had a duration of less than a minute and had a magnitude of 7.4. On the 19th of August, two moderate aftershocks occurred close to the original epicenter, around 50 miles or 80 kilometers west. As a result of thousands of structures collapsing or being severely damaged, including the Turkish Navy headquarters in Golchuk and in the Tupras oil refinery in Izmit, more than 17,000 people were killed and an estimated 500,000 others were rendered homeless. The towns of Golchuk, Derins, Darsa, and of course Sakarya recorded high casualty rates. The earthquake farther west in Istanbul resulted in a large amount of destruction and hundreds of fatalities. 2023, the fault line where this earthquake, the recent one, has occurred. According to a report by the USGS, the 7.8 magnitude earthquake occurred in southern Turkey close to Syria's northern border. A magnitude of 6.7 aftershock occurred 11 minutes after the initial earthquake. An earthquake of magnitude 7.8 was caused by shallow strike-slip faulting, a non-vertical left lateral fault striking northeast-southwest or a right lateral fault striking southeast-northwest were both ruptured by the event. According to preliminary information, the earthquake occurred close to a triple junction of the African-Arabian and the Anatolia plates. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said on Twitter that search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched to the areas hit by the quake. Further, I quote him, "We hope that we will get through this disaster together as soon as possible and with the least damage," unquote. This is what he has said. There were at least 6 aftershocks, and Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu urged people not to enter damaged buildings due to the risks. In northwest Syria, the opposition's civil defense, described the situation in the rebel-held region as disastrous, adding that entire buildings have collapsed and people are trapped under the rubble. The civil defense urged people to evacuate buildings, to gather in open areas. Emergency rooms were full of injured. That's what reports suggest. The earthquake came as the Middle East is experiencing a snowstorm that is expected to continue until Thursday. As per the latest report, the damage is devastating. It's torn through large portions of Turkey and huge parts of Syria. And the death toll in the coming days, as more details emerge and the rubble is cleared, could mount into thousands.